Two young men, two garages, two completely different visions for the future. One believed computers should be beautiful, personal, and artistic. The other believed they should be absolutely everywhere in every home, on every desk, in every corner of the world. But here's the paradox. The man who revolutionized design almost lost everything. And the man who conquered the market needed his biggest rival just to survive. This is the untold story of Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates, a rivalry that didn't just change Silicon Valley, it changed the world you live in today. In the mid-1970s, computers were these giant, intimidating machines, locked away inside universities and corporations. They were expensive, complicated, and totally invisible to the average person. But then, to friends, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak built something truly shocking. A computer that anyone could use. A computer that could actually fit on a desk. They called it the Apple I. It was sold straight from a garage for the peculiar price of $666.66. At the exact same time, a brilliant Harvard dropout named Bill Gates saw something else entirely. He wasn't looking at the machine. He was looking at the software that would power the future. By 1980, one single statistic changed everything. IBM controlled more than 80% of the entire global PC market. And when the giant IBM needed an operating system for their new personal computer, Bill Gates made a deal that would completely reshape history. He didn't just sell them software, he licensed it, creating a foundation for an empire. This is where the real rivalry between Jobs and Gates ignites. Because it wasn't just about computers, it was a clash of philosophies. Steve Jobs wanted total, absolute control, the hardware, the software, the design, the entire experience. Apple was built to be a closed ecosystem, like a beautifully crafted museum where every single detail is handpicked by the curator. Bill Gates, on the other hand, wanted openness, or at least the appearance of it. Microsoft Windows was designed to run on almost any machine from any manufacturer. It was like electricity. You could plug it in anywhere, and everyone could use it. The result? Apple made art. Microsoft made an empire. By 1990, Windows completely dominated the world. Apple was struggling just to keep up, and the rivalry turned harsh. Jobs publicly mocked Gates, famously saying he had no taste. Gates, ever the pragmatist, calmly replied, "It is easy to innovate when you don't have to worry about being compatible with anything." Two geniuses to separate worlds. And at the time, there seemed to be one clear winner. By the mid-1990s, Apple was collapsing. It was a disaster of bad products, internal chaos, and a stock price in freefall. The company that had started a revolution was just 90 days away from bankruptcy. And then, the unthinkable happened. Apple's board turned to the one man Steve Jobs had publicly battled for years, Bill Gates. Imagine this scene. At the 1997 Macworld Expo, Steve Jobs, back as interim CEO, makes an announcement. A massive image of Bill Gates appears on the screen behind him. The crowd gasped. Some people even booed. Microsoft was investing $150 million in its rival, Apple. But there, was one crucial condition. Apple had to continue using Microsoft Office on the Mac. In that moment, enemies became the most unlikely of allies. This wasn't some generous act of friendship from Gates. It was pure strategy. Gates understood something almost no one else did. Without Apple, Microsoft would have no real rival. And without a rival, without competition, innovation dies. More than that, a Microsoft monopoly would attract unwanted attention from regulators. For Gates, a weakened but surviving Apple was far more valuable than a dead one. This single moment was the turning point. Jobs regained control, and with a lifeline from his nemesis, Apple was reborn. Once Jobs returned, Apple transformed from a failing company into a global, cultural phenomenon. The iMac completely redefined computer design. The iPod didn't just sell music, it dominated the entire industry. And then came the iPhone, a revolution so profound. It redefined the very word computer. Suddenly, it wasn't Microsoft leading the future anymore. It was Apple. The closed ecosystem that once seemed like a weakness became its greatest strength. But here's the twist. Gates still won his own war. His original vision, computers everywhere, came true. Largely thanks to him, Windows remained the global standard for business, education, and industry. So we have two men, two victories, fought on completely different battlefields. In the end, the spectacular rise of Apple was not the fall of Microsoft. It was the rise of two opposite ideas that, in a strange way, pushed each other forward. Jobs taught the world that technology can be art, that it can be intuitive and beautiful. Gates taught the world that technology can be universal, accessible, and a tool for productivity. And the truth is a little unsettling. Without their intense rivalry, modern computing might have been boring, slower, and far less human. They weren't just enemies. They were catalysts for each other's greatness. So I have to ask you, who do you think truly shaped the modern world more? The visionary artist, Steve Jobs, or the strategic empire builder, Bill Gates? Drop your answer in the comments below. Your opinion might just spark the next great debate. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that changed our world.